Hello, my dear students, and welcome to our English program intended for grade 12. Today, we have a very special lesson. What makes it special is that we're going to focus on writing. Many of my students have some difficulty in writing a composition or writing an essay. So what we're going to learn today is how to write correctly. So please have your pen and some papers ready to take important notes. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back, my dear students. As I told you, today we will focus on writing. Now, although many of my students believe that it's difficult to write correctly, but we shall go through the writing process, step by step. I will try to teach you how to write every single word and how to organize your idea. Now, before we start, many of my students asked me an important question. And the question was, why is it really important to learn how to write? And the question is very important because it is part of our course and it's part of our daily life. Now, as you know, writing is important because of many reasons. To start with, we say that writing is a form of communication. You can communicate your ideas to people. You can understand and make other people understand your points if you are able to write them correctly. Another important point is related to your future life. It is related to your future career. You need to know how to write in English perfectly or at least in an acceptable manner. And also, because writing is a process and it involves steps, it will teach you how to organize your ideas. So this is, as you see, first, it is an important means of communication with others. Second, you need it in your future career, business and career. Third, it teaches you how to organize and present your ideas and opinions. Well, this question was of general nature, that is to know why is it important to learn how to write. Let's have a look on what we should do when we have the question about writing. Now let's see. How can we write correctly? Well, when you have the question or when you have composition or essay writing, you have to pay attention to the following points. Well, the first point is, number one, you should read the instructions carefully. You should read the question and understand what exactly you are required to do. Then, number two is that you should know and decide what kind of writing are you going to present. As you know, writing a pattern is about, for example, you say, is it informative? When I say informative, it means I am going to present information. Informative is mainly from information. Is it argumentative? When I say argumentative, it means I have two different points of view. For example, someone may talk about the advantages while others talk about the disadvantages. Someone may be for something or an idea while another is against. So this is what we mean by argumentative. Or sometimes it is persuasive. In persuasive writing, you need to persuade, to convince, to give reasons to your readers about why they should do so. So writing pattern is important. You should know what kind of writing are you going to present. Then we have the number of words. Now this is also important. When the teacher corrects your mistakes, it is really very important to know how many words or how many sentences. Notice that when I say words, when I say sentences, I don't mean lines. A sentence can be very short, a subject and verb. So when I say I sleep, it is a sentence, but it is not a line. So we care about the sentences. So you should know exactly how many sentences you should write about a certain topic. Then finally, you have to write the outline. Now I want you to pay much attention to this. An outline is a form that helps you to organize your ideas. You cannot just write whatever comes to your mind randomly. Writing, as I told you, should be logical and should be organized. Now I want you to see and look carefully at the form of the outline. So, outline form. What is the first step? What is the first point that you should mention in your outline? And as I told you, outline is about the organization of the ideas of your writing. The first idea is to write or to give a title. This is the title of your writing. So if you are writing about the internet, you have to write the internet. If you are writing about leisure time, you have to add or write leisure time. I should know what the title of your writing is. Then outline normally consists of three main parts. Number one is the introduction, and number two is the body, and number three is the conclusion. Now let's have a look at the first part. Introduction. When I say introduction, it means this paragraph is mainly to introduce and present your topic. So you should provide information. You should give background about your topic. Also, the second part or the last sentence in your introduction should be the main idea. What do I mean by main idea here? I mean the thesis or the very main idea of the whole writing. That's why we say that it is very specific. Now, it is mentioned in the question of your writing. When I say specific, means that you cannot write general topic. Main ideas cannot be general. For example, you cannot say the internet is important. This is not a good main idea, but you have to be specific. You have to focus exactly on what ideas you're going to handle. So you will say, for example, the internet has advantages and disadvantages. This is specific. Now I know that you're going to handle those points. You may also say the internet has many benefits. In this case, I understand that your main idea is to write about the benefits. Another may talk about the terrible or bad effects. So when you write the main idea, you should be specific to exactly what you're going to write or what you're going to handle in your writing. Now this part or this paragraph is called the introduction. Let's move to the second part, which is the body. Well, the body contains the basic information that you want to develop. The body also contains the main ideas and the supporting details that prove or support the very main ideas that was mentioned in the introduction. That's why we have main idea and then we have supporting details. So the supporting details support and are mainly to show related to the main idea. For example, if you're talking about the benefits of the internet, in this case, the supporting details can be, I can send emails. This one supporting detail. Another supporting detail is that we can use the internet to search for information, because both are related to the main idea, which is the benefits or the advantages of the internet. This is just an example. So the body is about the main ideas and the supporting details that should be all connected to the very main idea in the introduction. The third part is conclusion. Now, conclusion, this is the last or part number 3, the last part in your essay or in your writing. When you come to conclusion, this is the end. Normally, we started with finally or in conclusion. You summarize the main idea briefly, and then you add your opinion. After adding your opinion about the whole topic, then you can suggest or advise or recommend something to your audience or to your readers. Okay. Now, what we're going to have here is an example. I'm going to explain, we're going to teach you how to move from one step to another. This is an example of a writing process or a composition or an essay writing. Let's see how we should handle this question. I will read first to know exactly what we're talking about. Leisure time is of great importance for all people in all times. People used to spend their free time in traditional activities in the past, whereas people spend their free time in different activities nowadays. So if you read the question carefully, you can understand. Now, what you can understand here is that the topic I am talking about is, excellent, yes, leisure time. And what ideas are you going to handle, or what are the main topics of your writing? We have two things: traditional activities in the past and the traditional activities in the present time or at the present time. Now, this is the beginning of the question. Now, I want you as students, I'm trying to imagine that I am in your position. How should I deal or answer the question? I should know exactly what information I should provide. That's why we should complete, in not less than 12 sentences, outline and write a report considering the following ideas. Now notice, I have given you this piece of advice before. How many sentences? Yes, great, it is only 12. And then we have outline. You may have the word the plan. Even when you have plan, you should write an outline. So in both cases, either it is written as plan or outline, you have to write an outline, the organization of your ideas. Now let's see the ideas that you are required to develop. The first idea, leisure activities in the past. The second idea is leisure activities nowadays. And then, why you prefer modern activities. Now, as a student, if I have this question in my exam, I will handle or I will hold my paper and try to draw lines. I should decide what the ideas I am going to write about are. Well, the first idea is leisure activities in the past. This will go with number one. And then leisure activities nowadays. So this will be the second main idea. And finally, we have why do we prefer modern activities? Now remember, we have three main ideas. The teacher would check if you write about these ideas in your writing or not. If you didn't write about them, this means that you will lose marks. Okay, now let me brainstorm or let me generate some ideas and think about how to answer the question. So the first part, as you know, when we write the essay or even when we write the outline, we have to start with, yes, this is the introduction. The introduction is to handle the meaning of leisure time. What do I mean by leisure time? The leisure time, this is the time when we are not working. So as a student, when I finish school and when I finish my study, this can be my leisure time. Now look at the pictures we have. Well, we have two pictures. The first picture, as you see to the left, is about holiday. Do we work on holidays? Of course not. What do? We have leisure time. This is one example. Another example is related to when we finish our work and we have 2 or 3 hours to relax and we have free time, then we can watch television or something like that. In general, this is the these are the pieces of information you have to provide in your introduction, the meaning of the leisure time or leisure activities. Okay, now who can remember? I want you to remember, we have 3 main ideas. The first idea was what? It was about leisure activities in the past. Now let's see. I'm going to show you some pictures to help you remember exactly what these activities were. Look at the first pictures. Yeah, it's funny. Now, people in the past didn't have technology. So how did they spend their free time? Some of them like to fish or like to go fishing. Okay? Now, the second picture shows that some people in the past like to use their hands to do things, or like making kites or like making baskets. But is this all? No, of course, we have many other different leisure activities in the past. Now let's complete. Okay, now in the past, as I told you, people did not have automatic machines. They have to do things with their hands. So if they have something wrong with their boats, they have to fix it. And sometimes they have to make their own boats. Is it only for boats? No, of course not. People in the past used to do some traditional activities also, like fixing the cars. So if they have anything wrong with their cars, they can depend on themselves and try to fix what's wrong with their cars. Again, normally we say also some people like to have leisure activities in the past, like handcrafts. Like what? Like, as you see, some people like to make pottery or making kites or baskets. Then we have the little boys or the children. They can play some traditional games. Traditional games, as you see, this is one example of them, of the Kuwaiti society. I think we have covered and we have mentioned some examples about leisure activities in the past. Let's see the second main idea. Do you remember it? Yes, it is about leisure activities at the present time. Now, you can answer this easily. What are these leisure activities that you like to do nowadays? Like what? Let's see. Cafes. People like to go to cafes, socialize and meet together, discuss and say happy stories or funny stories. What else? Some other people like to do or to go shopping. They like to buy things. They like to go to different superb malls and buy different products. What else do people do in our present time? We have, yes, smartphones. I guarantee that most of my students, otherwise all of them, every one of them has a smartphone. So we use it to get connected to the internet. We use it to send emails, to chat, to have different programs. What else? Good. We can also surf the internet. People have, or young people have their laptops, iPads, or whatever, and they can use it to get easily connected to the internet, search for information, or play online games. Now, the last 2 points related to leisure activities at the present time is, yes, games. We have two different types of games. In fact, we have video games and also we have computer games. As you see, these are wonderful pictures of very good and famous games. People can choose from different variety or wide choices of games. For example, if I like sports, then I can choose a good sports game. If I like racing, then I can play racing games or shooting or whatever. So these are, in general, some of the ideas about leisure activities that are used nowadays. Now still we have one last main idea. Do you remember it? Yes, very good. It is why we prefer the modern activities. Now, we want to mention some reasons why we like it. Now think about this. Why do you like computer games or smartphones or going to cafes or meeting with people? Number one, good. These activities are interesting. People like it because it is or because they are interesting. Number two, it is technological. As you know, most of us use technology every single minute and all the time. We use phones, we use computers, we use them every day. And finally, we say that the computer games or the leisure activities nowadays have many options and varieties. You can choose from different varieties. Now we have covered what we should write about, the three main points. Now let's see, this is to remind you, we have the topic, introduction, body, and conclusion. Now let's write the outline. Now, if you remember, it should be quick and easy now. What is the first step to write the outline? Yes, the title. So what is the title? The title is Leisure Time. Now, what is the first part of my outline? Should be the introduction. What do we write in the introduction? As I told you before. So, number one, we explained the meaning of leisure time. As we explained, it's a time when we are not working. And then what else? We write the main idea. What is the main idea that should be handled and developed in my writing? It should be the leisure time either in the past or in the present, or both. You have to write about both, leisure times in the past and nowadays. This is the first part. Now the body. Remember, three main ideas would be developed, would be mentioned. Leisure times in the past, leisure times in the present time, and finally, you will give reasons why you prefer modern leisure times. Okay. Now, leisure activities in the past. Quickly, as we explained, what do you think the examples and what they were? Meeting and chatting with friends. Yes. What else? Traditional crafts as pottery. All right. And then we have playing traditional games. Still, we have one more point. It's making baskets and sewing. We have explained this before. Now let's move to the main idea too, which is about the leisure activities nowadays. Now you can quickly write them. Yes, quickly. Who can say? Going shopping, playing computer and video games, using smartphones for chatting, and then we have meeting at cafes and restaurants. Now the last point is, it is about the reasons. Preferring leisure activities nowadays, you should give the reasons. You remember that we mentioned three reasons. More fun, interesting racing games and others, wide choices of games, and finally, we use advanced technology. Now we have already written the body. Let's move to the third part, which is the conclusion. What do we write in the conclusion? Number one is, we summarize the main ideas. And then, after summarizing the main ideas, we give our opinion. And finally, we give recommendation or advice. So this was all about the form of the outline. Well, this is a gift for you. It's very important. You have to take important notes right now. How to write a paragraph correctly. Now, as you know, we have three main paragraphs, introduction paragraph, and then we have the body paragraph, at least one. It can be more actually than one. And finally, the paragraph of the conclusion. Okay, how can I write a paragraph? Now, these are the steps. Have your pen and write notes about it. The first point is indent. When I say indent or indentation, I mean that the first line of your writing should be left, or we have 5 spaces or 2.5 centimeters empty. You just leave a space of about 2.5 centimeters. This is called indentation of the first line of the paragraph. Then you write the main idea, like the main ideas we mentioned. It's about leisure activities in the past. Now, you're going to give supporting details. The supporting details should be linked together. Now we have first, you give detail number 1, and then second, you give detail number 2. Sometimes you need to give examples. If you want to add examples, you have to say, for example. Now, we have already talked about leisure times in the past. Then we should move to another opposite idea, which is leisure time at the present time. That's why we need to write on the other hand. It means I'm going to talk about something different. What is it? Leisure time nowadays. Again, the supporting details. 1, you can also use other words like also or detail 2. And finally, we come to the last sentence of the paragraph, which is concluding sentence. When I say concluding sentence, it's about a summary or just one main or one sentence that summarized the whole paragraph. Okay? Now, I have also some other tips that you need to pay attention when you write in your exams. Just take care of them, look carefully, and try to focus. Okay, exposition of ideas, paragraphing, and number of sentences. That's why you should pay attention to. Did you cover all the ideas? Did you write the exact number of sentences? You can add more, but you cannot just write less than the number of sentences. Pre-writing techniques, outlining, we have already explained the outline. And then spelling and the grammatical mistakes. And finally, handwriting, spacing, and punctuation. So you have to check your spelling, you have to check your grammar mistakes, and also you have to check for your handwriting and punctuation. these are important steps that you should follow after you finish writing your, these are the points you're going to revise after writing your writing or your essay. Okay, remember, this is actually important too. First draft, this is the first time you write because you can write many drafts. The first draft is the flow of ideas. It's about your ideas in general. The second one is for checking your mistakes. And then finally, the final draft is the cleanest one. Okay. Now, we have come to an end. We have come to the end of our episode and program today. I hope you have get a lot of benefits about how to write correctly and how to write an outline and how to organize your ideas. Thank you for watching. Till we meet again, I hope you the best of good luck. Thank you.